The video is all about the future of video games, and the irony is that they still lag when your internet goes wacky. It starts off with me coming home, and I've got Casey on a call, and I'm telling him that I've got this game called Me RPG. The idea of the game was that it could be anything you wanted with a lot of customization options. And in the video, these two guys, they go in and they start up a first-person shooter game. So one of the cool things about this video was that I got to mess around with sort of designing the look of this future with the phone user interface, the Xbox 900, the game loading screens, and even the game case. I like making videos that present a lot of new opportunities for doing new things, and Future Games Lagging was no exception. The effect in the shot where we transitioned into the game world was really important to me because I wanted it to be really dramatic. I was inspired by The Matrix, the way that they show Neo leaving the Matrix for the first time, and it took a while to see what I had in my head and turn it into something that was exciting visually to be able to use as that transition. So once I took it into After Effects, I went through that experimentation process, and I ended up using the plugin CC Flow Motion first, and that gave the footage a kaleidoscope effect. And then after that, I used the CC Light Burst plugin, and after that, the Mosaic plugin to pixelate this kaleidoscope-like image to help out with showing that we were transitioning from reality to a different digital reality. And finally, that all goes through the Liquify plugin to make the kaleidoscope image swirl around. There was also some chromatic aberration as well, and that all fades onto the footage of my character's point of view with that heads-up display on top. I made the heads-up display by going online and finding a Photoshop brush pack of futuristic elements, and then I used a program called AVR Viewer to convert those Photoshop brushes into individual PNG images with transparency. Then using those images, I could load them up into After Effects and then position them and rotate them however I wanted. And I made a comp out of that, and that is what you see on top of the point of view footage in the video. Doing the muzzle flare was kind of a new experience for me. I had done them before, but with this one, I tried out a lot of different things, like making a bullet casing in Blender and having that pop out of the side of the gun as Casey pulls the trigger. The muzzle flare itself was also Blender. Another new thing I was doing was a displacement map to distort the image under the muzzle flare. And I think that all those new things that I tried with sound added pulled together to make a really nice, realistic effect. One of the coolest shots in the video was probably the shot where Casey is walking around me and observing me as I glitch out. My legs are all going haywire, and there's just this completely inconspicuous helicopter crash in the background, and it all makes for a really comedic shot. When I opened it up in After Effects, I just looked at it and I just thought, this is a great place to just throw anything in there, and that's when I thought of the helicopter crash. I went on Blend Swap and I found a brilliant helicopter model. It was already animated. It even had a particle emitter for smoke coming out of the propellers. And all I had to do was give it some HDR reflections of the environment and then keyframe the movement from in the air to crashing and then render it out. I just popped it on the footage, and after some color correction, it looked great. For the explosion, all I had to do was add some stock footage, and under that make a new layer with darkened fractal noise and mask that layer into the shape of a giant smoke plume. Making the legs glitch out was easy. I duplicated the footage layer, masked out the legs, and applied movable joints using the puppet tool. Then I just used keyframe animation to create that spastic glitch motion. And then there was the pixelation effect, which consisted of only duplicating the footage, masking out the areas that needed to glitch, and applying the Mosaic plugin to it. The final effect I want to talk about is when the camera follows the bullet all the way from Casey to me and it stops. It lags and spazzes a little bit. When I had Casey over here, I gave him the camera. I said, hey, take this, start where you just were, and then walked in a straight line to me. I'm gonna speed this up. That's all I'm gonna have to do. It's gonna look great, easy job. Then a couple of days later, I started to work on that shot. I'm just like, it was a little shaky, it looked weird, and I just knew I've got to find some other way to do this. So later I thought about it, and I thought about one of the old Video Copilot tutorials where you zoom in to the Earth from a bird's eye view, and I thought maybe I can do the same exact thing with this shot. So I took frames from the footage, and using the same technique, I was able to get a result I was pleased with. Once I had the background, I rendered it out, flipped horizontally so that I could use that for HDR reflections on the bullet model, which I animated to move from right to left and away from the camera in Blender. I rendered that out, put it on the footage, and it all turned out really well. So I hope you like this inside look at future games lagging. I've got a lot of cool stuff planned, so be on the lookout, and catch you later.